Okay. So guys, we just got out of the 4DX experience here at LA Live in Los Angeles, the first 4DX theater in the US. And basically 4DX, you saw the other video, you know what it is. It's an extreme immersive experience. They spent $2 million on this theater to upgrade it to be 4D. That way.
And, you know, I feel like I've been beat up in both a good way.
Wait, before you say that, I want to say one thing. Because we forgot to mention this before. This ticket is a matinee ticket. We're seeing it at 11 a.m. It costs $24.
So you better get something for your money, and you definitely get a different experience.
You do get something for your money.
Yes,
that is 100% true.
They don't skimp on the 4D effects. From the instant Transformers starts for the next 165 minutes, almost, I would say 70% of it, something is happening. Most of the time it's just your seat rumbling, but there's lights that flash when a bomb goes off. There's smoke that comes up when there's rubble. You know, you get water effects. And
you know what? We should say that Transformers, and we're not going to be reviewing the movie Transformers. We're just reviewing the experience of the 4DX. We should say Transformers 4 is probably not the best way to experience 4DX.
No, I don't think so.
Because it's almost a 3-hour movie.
And by the time you've hit like an hour and a half in, you've experienced all the 4D effects, and then it just gets sort of monotonous. So I think the 4D would be much better in a much shorter film. Yeah. But you know, it's interesting. It was something that I kind of enjoyed for its kitschiness. I think it sort of took away from the movie at sometimes. I'd already seen the movie, but it still had like my mind. It was like another piece of my mind working like, what's going to happen next? So I wasn't concentrating as much as on the screen, which is easier in this movie. But so that was always interesting, and I was always kind of anticipating, you know, what can this thing do next?
Yeah, I will say this. When the movie starts off and we're in space and there's spaceships going by us, you know, we're on these seats that are tilting and moving forward.
But very slowly.
Very slowly, giving you this feeling that you're in space, and while the spaceships go by you, it's rumbling, and you know what? I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be awesome. I think, and there are moments of that in this film, or in
bullets
this
whiz by you, and so there's little puffs of smoke of air. That hit you like that.
But not just from behind, but also from forward sometimes.
Yeah, and there's there's a scene I think where somebody like Optimus Prime taps Stanley Tucci on the left shoulder, and you get a little pump in your left shoulder. So somebody gets stabbed, and you feel like a lumbar in your back.
Oh yeah,
and some of it is surprising and kind of off-putting, but it's really sort of inconsistent. I think is the biggest problem. We were talking about it. There's really not a voice. Like you don't know. It's just everything. So if there's there's impact, you rumble. Anytime anything moves, you shake. And then there'll be like a couple times where that doesn't happen. So it's really weird and kind of just it's cool when it's a car chase and I feel like I'm in the car and it's shaking. Yeah. But other times, like if the guy's just driving the car like softly, I don't know if I need to feel the rumble of the car.
Yeah, there's an awesome dogfighting sequence in the city that is really cool because you feel like you're flying, and it is really going from side to side. But there are some effects, like they have a rain effect that I don't know. It just feels weird. It doesn't. At one point, it got on my glasses.
You can turn the water off, though. You can. There is the option to turn the water off.
Yeah, I had to take my glasses off and actually like clean them off to continue watching the movie. So. If anything can take you out of the movie, that does.
And I think if you have motion sickness, you shouldn't do it. Like, cause I mean, like I said, it was a long movie. I'm hungry, and I was starting to get like,
The other cool thing is, it's cool. A lot of this stuff I think is cool and horrible at the same time. And one of the effects is this fog effect, where they have the smoke come out from underneath the screen and around the screen. And sometimes when there's explosions and stuff, they do this. And sometimes it looks like it's just like.
There for no reason.
It looks like you can see where it's coming out of, and it's just like a bunch of smoke, like just filing into the theater. And then other times it creates this atmospheric as it spreads out, and the projections going through it. It feels like as much as you're watching this in 3D, but it feels like almost an enhanced 3D because the smoke, the
Well,
3D smoke and the real smoke, and it blends together.
That's 4D,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And I think like there's like this flashing effect that happens, and you might say I don't want any bright lights in my movie theater, but when it's like a bomb going off, it was cool. I liked it. It was
I will say this: it's cool, but they have them on the middle of the theater, on the top of the middle of the theater. You can kind of see them unless you're in the front of the theater. And I feel like what Disney does is they put the lights mostly on the back of the theater, and you kind of like see the reflection of the lights on the theater. And I feel like that would have been better. But
one effect I didn't like is there's a lot of wind. A lot of wind.
see, this is where I disagree with
Right.
you. They have
Sometimes
these-
it's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's good if you're sort of floating or whatever, like the space thing or something like that. Or we're in the Arctic in part of this movie and you're cold. But other times they're just like there's like a flag waving and there's wind. I literally got cold. Like I was like, this is not
they might be
enhancing my
they
experience.
might be overusing it. They have these huge high-powered fans on the top of the theater on each side, and for a scene when like you're on the ground and there's like this almost like helicopter thing taking off, and it's supposed to be blowing chunks of stuff all over the place. You felt it, and it didn't take me out of the experience. It put me more into the movie.
Yeah, I think it's very hit and miss. I think there's a lot
I
of
agree.
stuff that really works. I think it needs to be used a little bit more sparingly, a little bit more selectively. There's got to be a little more authorship to it. I think.
Yeah, that's one of the problems. It's like sometimes you'll cut from being inside a car and it's rumbling and you feel the bass and you feel like the movement. Then all of a sudden it cuts to a shot of like the car going across the screen and that rumble just stops. And I feel like as me being inside the car, like I should have that point of view and I should still be feeling that rumble. It almost feels distracting that it stops, and I'm like,
and then it'll come back in the next shot.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh right, I forgot about
it should
that.
keep with the characters. It shouldn't keep with the camera. Sometimes.
Yeah, well, and a lot of it is set to the editing or set to the music. You'll get a little bounce or a little push around. I think if you love movies and you've seen movies, I think it's something you should try if you can. I mean, now this is the only one in the States. It's definitely an experience that's worth trying once.
Yeah.
I don't think it's something I would do like every time.
I definitely wouldn't do it every time, but this is not something I'm against doing again. If the right movie presents itself. The next movie is going to be Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and I would recommend no one see that movie in this experience. I don't know what that experience would be like in this experience. But
A movie like maybe like Into the Storm that comes out later this summer
Into the
might be
Storm
fun.
would be pretty cool. You know what I would like to see? It seems like they're probably going for bigger, more blockbuster movies, but I would love to see some horror movies do this because they have this effect that like will tap at the back of your legs and like it can really creep you out.
Yeah, there's
like,
a lot.
They can do some stuff that I think would really enhance like the scares and like jump scares of like paranormal or whatnot.
The potential is there. I think
But the problem
Transformers
is
isn't the greatest thing
yeah,
for it.
but the problem is if you did that, you would have to use the effects more sparingly, and I feel like
That's not the point of this.
That's not
the point. Is for your length of the movie, you are on a ride. It feels like a theme park ride. Like if you went to the theme park and did Transformers the ride, you'd be like, this is a crappy ride because you'd want more from a theme park ride. But you felt like it a lot of times when you're on this or you're floating, it felt like a theme park ride. And if you want a movie as a theme park ride, this delivers that experience.
we should mention that they were handing out these T-shirts and this hat after the screening. We do not have. This is not presented by 4DX.
Yes, no. We
as evident by our negative criticism.
Yeah, it is. I mean, this is the first one in the country. This is the second day it's been open.
Yeah.
So they're really trying to push it and get the awareness out there, and I guess we're helping a little bit, but that's what we do.
Anyways, you can read more of our work both at slashfilm.com, twitter.com/slashfilm.
And at Jermaine Lucier.
Thanks for watching.